You were texting me today telling me of some neat things that were happening since the last class.
Yes, definitely.
Tell me what you were experiencing.
I was practicing and I was getting a little frustrated with colors and letters, and I was sitting on the couch comfortably, and as I suddenly moved my right hand over and I had a color chart in my hand, I didn't see the color, but I saw my hand. I saw my hand move across like this, and I thought, what was that? And then suddenly, to the left of me, I had smaller cards, and I was touching for them, and again, and suddenly I saw myself coming with the hand up. And then suddenly I saw, as I was looking closely, I was watching my hand. It was like a really deeper, darker shadow, and I could see me bending my fingers. I could move them up, and I'm like, wow, this is my hand. And then I saw it's almost like little currents running up my hand. And I couldn't understand why am I seeing my hand, but I'm not seeing anything else. So but it was just such a concept to see my hand, and I'm like, wow, it's like I'm doing this, and I'm like, I can see it.
Yeah, there's a couple explanations for that. One, your hand and your arm have been with you all your life. And so the right brain is very familiar with your fingers, your hand, your fingernails, your arm. So that when your mind sight does start developing, that is one of the first images that you can see. Wow. And even though we practiced with colors and letters, you did really good with letters there a couple of days ago. It is more new and not as established. So, you know, when you were just sitting there by yourself trying to practice, your mind vision, your mind sight kind of defaulted and gave you very basic stuff that it really knows since you were born, right?
Yeah.
So, but as we go on, you will continue to see the colors consistently. You'll see the letters consistently, and at some point, your entire seeing could just open right up, like it could be like a switch.
Yeah.
Seen that before. Or, you know, with most people, it slowly comes open in different spots. Like you can have a Swiss cheese appearance where you've got different holes that are open, and then you just kind of work at making each one bigger and they all join together. Or it can be just one that gradually gets bigger. Like, you know, everybody's different in the way that it actually starts happening.
Yeah. I was amazed.
Morning, that was really great. And did you feel, like, tell me any sort of feelings you had around it, or any anything that you can attach to it, like a state of mind, or is there anything specific that would make it familiar when it's going to happen again?
I was at a very comfortable position, and I was sort of like when I was aware of it, or what happened the first time again, it was sort of like I was really relaxed and calm, and then suddenly it was like a whoosh what went by, and I thought, what was that? What was that? You know, and then suddenly I'm realizing it was me, and it was a really I would like to pinpoint it more that it was just something familiar I was doing, but it was almost like suddenly it was almost like a 3D vision. Like I could see, and there was a darker shadow inside.
Yeah, so your mind vision is definitely switching on, and it will do that. It will light up at the strangest times and then close again. But the more you practice, the more it will become consistent. And especially, you know, when you need to do something. Like, for example, if you're, you know, reading a book with your mind vision, since you need to do that and you need to see the words, that will promote it to stay open. You know, or if you were trying to navigate around the house safely with your blindfold, it's something you need to do. So there's a motivation of the brain to, you know, continue to keep it open.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're going to see it come and go all the time. Depends on the mood. It depends on your state of mind, how relaxed you are, you know, many things. It's just like people learning other things, you know, playing the piano. And if you're with your piano teacher and you're all tense and everything else, it's going to be difficult to learn. And the teacher would probably say, let's just take a few minutes to get relaxed, and then we'll continue with the lesson. You know, so many things that you learn, it's better to be in a relaxed state to learn them. This is no different. So that's a pretty cool experience you had. That's it's a very good sign that things are progressing. And you know, we don't know, or we won't say when your full eyesight's going to open. It could be days away, or it could be weeks away. You know, it really, there's just so many factors involved. But what we are going to do is we're going to keep practicing. We're going to keep pushing it. You know, you have to stretch the mental muscles, so to speak.
Yeah.
If you don't push it a little bit, which is sometimes frustrating also, but if we don't push it, you know, it won't tend to move forward very fast. We do have to push it. We've got to test the limits. And then we got to try to push through that, and even let your mind vision know that it's okay. It's okay. You know, this is something that us humans have always had. Every single one of us has this, but guaranteed that, you know, when you were young, if you showed this in any way to your folks, they would have just told you that, you know, they would have humored you. And they would say, well, that's nice, honey, and, you know, but it's not real, you know. And we have to learn the difference between what's real and what is make-believe and what's fantasy and what's imagination. And unfortunately, you know, our parents would convince us that this was just our imagination. So just let it go, sweetheart. It's really just nothing. It's nothing that is of any importance. So, you know, we learned how to suppress it. And we built up all these walls so if it even tried to come through spontaneously, which it would have, then in our minds we just build up a wall and we just say, well, I can't go there. My mom said that this is not real, so I'm going to block it because she says it's not real. Now, our parents were good intentioned, but they didn't know about this kind of stuff. And it's something that all human beings have. We've had it since the beginning of time. People have asked me, well, why do you suppose we have it? The only thing I can speculate is that, you know, in our cave dweller days, that in order for mom and dad to keep the family safe at night in a cave, they had to have this night vision, this mind vision, because what happened if a wild animal comes venturing into the cave and is going to attack everybody? And, you know, it's a moonless night. There's no stars. It's cloudy, so it's pitch black. And maybe they've had a fire going, but the fire's out. And so, you know, mom and dad have to be able to protect their family. So it's out of need. And, you know, in modern society, we don't really need this ability. So it's kind of, it's disappeared. But it's not fully disappeared. It's still in our minds. We just have to activate it. We just have to, one, believe that we do have it. That's really the first step. Because if we believe that we have it, then that begins to open the doors to be able to connect to it. And then just, you know, practicing, experiencing it, and the more you experience it, and then the more you believe it. And the more you believe it, the more you will experience it. It's kind of like a dog chasing its tail in a good way. So, there could be another reason we have it. And again, I'm just doing a lot of talking here because, it's good for you to be in kind of a just relaxed, passive mind, be a passive observer, but just veg out and relax. So I'm just doing a lot of talking, and it's to allow more time to go by while you're in your mask to get more accustomed to the darkness. But it's possible, another reason that we have it is, I don't say it was just the men that were the hunters. Maybe men and women hunted alike. And, if the family's going to eat, then there has to be food brought home. And, I'm sure there was a lot of plants and fruits that were eaten depending on where the people lived. But perhaps they also, had to kill animals like lions, tigers, different animals, and, cook the meat. And now a lot of animals are only out at night. So that's a perfect time to go hunting. So not only can you protect your family with this mind vision, so you can see in the dark, and we've already proven you can see in the dark with this because I've got, videos with the infrared and videos with thermal where we're getting all the different symbols and we're seeing the colors. So it doesn't even need light to work at all. It just somehow goes out to the objects in front of us and it interprets the energy and it combines it into an image in your mind and you can see. But, if you needed to go out and hunt at night and there's no light, the mind vision would be fabulous because you could see the animal and maybe they can't see you, but maybe they have mind vision also. Don't know. Maybe they do. So nevertheless, we don't really know how we got it and what it's for. We can only speculate on it, but what we do know is we are born with this. It's built in, and it's just something that we have to practice. In the same way, many people have innate skills and talents, and they're predisposed to being very good at it, but they do have to learn about it and practice. Now, this ability, it seems that anybody can do it. It seems that we all have this, just the same as we have our natural eyesight. And over time, you will be able to read letters in front of you, words, sentences, and paragraphs, and can read through books and magazines, go to your phone, do text messages, browse the internet on your phone if you want, and you'll be able to navigate in your surroundings, in your environment, whether you are just in your home or whether you venture out into the street and need to, depending on your mode of transportation, wait for an Uber to arrive, wait for the bus to arrive, or a friend coming by to pick you up, you'll be able to see all of that. And you'll see it in much the same way as your natural eyes do now. And depending on how far you want to take this, some people can see 360 degrees. Now, other people have said to me, if you can see 360 degrees, wouldn't that be confusing? Well, it's no different than right now we can see 108 degrees. And is that confusing? No. We simply look in the center part where we want to actually look at something, but we have in our peripheral vision, literally, I don't know what the exact number is, but close to 180 degrees. So it would be the same if you just extended that all the way around. But where you're actually looking is likely what's going to be in focus, or at least what you can actually zero in on. I don't know of anybody that has 360 degree mind vision. I've just heard of it. Perhaps you might be the first person that I'll know in the future that has it. But, it's something that could be beneficial for everybody. In your case, with the condition you have, we want to increase your mind vision to the point where it's as good as or better than your current vision. And there's a very large likelihood that it will be better, that you will see in your whole peripheral in front of you. And if you wanted to extend it, you'd be able to see around behind you. And then it's really where you turn your head, I guess, to specifically zero in on something, like to make it more sharp. You know, and I guess it really depends on how you develop your mind vision. You know, so it's something that is very possible down the road to do the 360 degrees. Even more, not only could it be 360 degrees, but 360 degrees the other way as well. So it's like a sphere of sight around your whole body in a way. But, you know, I guess it really boils down to what do you need? You need to be able to see in front of you. You need to be able to function. You need to be able to depend on the images that your mind vision is giving you. And you need to be able to depend that they're accurate. And once again, people can develop zoom vision. They can develop more macro vision, but it could get confusing if you're trying to walk and, you know, just like the mirrors say, things are closer than they appear. Some people have reported with the mind vision that it is slightly different. And it could be just the way that they have practiced it. For example, I've seen children that are climbing on those little rock walls that they have for recreation. You know, there's the attendant that has the rope attached to them, and as the kid or even an adult climb the rocks on the wall, they're tightening the rope. You probably have seen those on TV or seen them for real. They're just like rock climbing walls, right? And people will go on outings and they'll do that. And the wall can be, you know, 50 feet high in a warehouse, but the person is climbing and placing their feet and hands on all these different rocks. They are wearing a harness, and the attendant has the rope. It goes through a pulley above and down to the person that's climbing the wall. So as you climb the wall higher, they pull the rope more, so that if you should fall, you don't fall. The rope is there to keep you up in the air until you go back to the wall. But I've seen videos of kids doing this who are doing the blindfold thing, and they have to get used to where they're putting their hands and feet, because they've said right in the video, it's a little bit different than where my mind vision is showing me. And you know, I've experienced that a little bit with wearing glasses. I remember when I got these current glasses, they're progressive glasses. They have the correction for the far seeing at the top, and then it slowly transitions to the close-up reading near the bottom. And you have to be careful when you're walking with those glasses, because, and especially going downstairs, because when you look down to see if you've got a good footing, what the glasses are making you see is, in sort of real space, is slightly different than what it really is. So a couple times I've actually slipped off the stairs. Now I'm holding the handrail, so I was able to catch myself. But you know, the optometrist did tell me, be careful, because it's different than what it really is. Your mind vision could go that way as well, at least at the start, where things are a little bit different as far as how far they are in front of you. A little bit different than what is truly there in reality. So with feedback, you can actually kind of get your mind vision to zero in to give you the correct image in terms of depth perception. Now, when we talk about depth perception, this is another issue. With our eyes, we see in a 3D way. Because our eyes are spaced apart by whatever it is, 2 or 3 inches from center to center, and the vision is slightly different in each eye of the perspective of what the eye is seeing. So when the brain combines the two images together, it forms a 3D image in our mind. So we can immediately tell how far something is away from us, especially closer objects. So if there's something on the table, with our 3D eyes, or having our stereo eyes, you can reach for a glass and be confident that you're going to be able to put your fingers around and grab it. And then if it's a glass of water, you can put it to your mouth and be confident that you're not going to spill it all over the front. Now, with mind vision, it's not stereo. So it's kind of like if you're going around your house with just one eye open. So maybe, when we're finished after the session, just try that. Cover one eye and see how there's no depth perception once you only have one eye. Now, what you can do and what people will do that only have one eye, all they have to do is move their head a little bit. And objects that are close will move faster or more than objects that are further away. So that is a very large clue for a person who only has one eye to see how far an object it truly is away. Because you can have two cards with a symbol on them, but one card is much bigger with a bigger symbol, but it's further away. And then you put the other card closer. If you just look at it with one eye and don't move your head, you would say, well, it's the same card. But as soon as you start moving your head with one eye, you will see the one that's in the foreground moves across your screen further than the one that's in the background. And that's how people can do the depth perception. All you got to do is move your head slightly. You can just, make some movements with your head, and that's how people compensate who can only see out of one eye. In the same way that we have 3D viewing with our stereo eyes, they can get a very similar effect with one eye just by moving their head around and looking outward and seeing how the perspective changes on objects that are closer versus objects that are further away. So that's an important thing to remember for the future, is you'll have mono Mindsight vision, Claudia. And it's like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to have two eyes. Well, the mind vision is just one eye. Maybe that truly is what people call the third eye. Don't know. But you'll have mind vision. It'll be one perception of everything that's out there. So how you will be able to tell in the future will just be simply moving your head around. Like it's as if you're just looking around. And as you move even a couple inches with where your head is, you will automatically perceive the depth and how far something is away. Now, the other way you can tell how far something is away is by memory. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's memory of objects. For example, you know how big a cell phone generally is, especially if it's, say, an iPhone or an Android phone or something. So if you see a phone laying somewhere and you identify it's a phone, you automatically will know how far it is away from you because of the size. Or if it's a glass on a table or a coffee cup, you automatically know how big coffee cups are, especially ones that are at your own house. So if it's sitting somewhere, your mind will actually give you the calculation on how far you have to reach to grab it based on how big you see it in your mind sight. So you'll have two things. You'll have all your memory of what objects are. There's thousands and thousands of objects that our eyes see per day as we look around. And you will know, you already know how big these objects are, especially if you can identify it, like how big a tree is, how big a bush is, how big a car is. a house, the road, how wide the road is. You know, does it have a center line, and then it has sort of like 2 lanes on either side, and you can see those dotted lines, and that gives you a clue that this is a wider road, and especially when you turn your head around and things. So in the future, with your mind vision, it will be just the equivalent of one eye, but you will get full color. You might even be able to see into the infrared and into the ultraviolet, which is further than the regular human eye can see. So you may be able to get some of that. But once again, it depends on need and if you're really promoting that or not. And, you know, as far as depth perception, your brain will know as soon as you move your head a bit, you'll pick up all the clues, and by memory, because you know what many of these objects are that you're familiar with that are in your environment, and you know how big they're supposed to be. Once in a while, you might get fooled, but you know how big a city bus is. You know how wide a sidewalk is in general. You know if it's somebody riding on a bike. Most bikes are generally the same size. If it's a child on a tricycle, you know that that's a lot smaller. And plus, the person riding the tricycle is also going to be smaller. Now, you could get fooled sometime if there's an adult riding a tricycle. But, you know, as time goes on with your mind vision in the future, you will also be building a library of what all these objects look like in your mind vision. So over time, the experience that you gain and the catalog of images that you will have in your mind will be, it'll be hundreds of thousands, if not, eventually millions. And so your brain, your right brain, will automatically take care of you with everything you see through your mind vision. And every time you use it, it builds more connections, and it builds more stable and secure connections. And all the patterns that you see of all the objects and everything in your environment, that's all being recorded in your right brain, in your subconscious brain. And you don't have to worry about that part. All you have to worry about is be the person that's saying where it is I want to go today. And what do I have to do? Do I have to make a phone call? Do I go on the internet on my app and call an Uber? Do I have a friend come over? So those are the decisions that you have to make. You won't have to worry about your Mindsight not showing you, because it will. And it's out of necessity. Now, you may find, some people have reported this, is that when you get really tired, the Mindsight will not be as sharp. And now, for a lot of people, that's the same as with regular eyesight. Many people report that at the end of the day, they don't see as clearly as they do in the morning. So, in a way, your Mindsight is no different. If you're really tired, it may not work quite as well. Same as our regular eyesight. And, the Mindsight is using resources from your brain. And if your brain is tired, well, it's going to, I don't know where it allocates the resources to, but when you're tired, it seems we don't have as much access to any of our resources. We just want to go to bed and sleep. So there we go. That's 30 minutes, Claudia.